Bienvenido and welcome to IJustWatched. I'm Joseph. We're about to discuss Imaginary. It's funny because when I first saw the trailers and such, I was like, I kind of like the idea of this spooky version, this spooky tale of what happens to our imaginary friends. I know I had one. I never remember it having a name, but really my imaginary friend was like an amalgamation of things I loved, from superheroes to movie characters, like to certain traits from family members. It was a weird thing, but it would just kind of like always be with me on car rides, and it would just swing and jump from pole to pole and just kind of just stay with the group when I was going anywhere. When we going to school, going to the store, I would just be like, the homies with me. I don't know. I don't remember it having a name, so that aspect of it really piqued my interest. So going into it, I was kind of hoping for a really good movie, just because I liked the idea. And there's been a lot of movies as of late, at least for me, that had great ideas, really poor execution. So spoiler warning, just in case you haven't seen it yourself. I've actually seen it twice now, which is funny because the first time I enjoyed it. The second time I think I liked it a little bit more. I don't think it's a great movie, but I do enjoy watching it. And so on the rewatchability part or portion of it, it's definitely rewatchable in my opinion. However, I do have to, like, full disclaimer, I think as a horror movie it mostly failed because it wasn't scary at all. There was moments were kind of creepy and playful, like that kind of intensity, but it didn't really hit. Nothing ever was like super scary, super spooky. Didn't sell me that. So in that sense, it did fail. But the story, I thoroughly enjoyed the concept of it. I love the use of practical effects. And I feel like if this movie had a bigger budget, they could have done even more. Because even when we get into the other world, what was it called? It was through the blue door. Damn, I've seen it twice. I should remember what it was called. But when we get to this other dimension where they live, it's simplistic, but I love, just like I said, the use of practical effects, not just for the monsters or the imaginary creatures themselves, but this other world and the play of it. And the little twist, a little easier to call than the second one. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because the whole play with the dad going crazy, like, you figured the dad didn't go crazy. Something happened involving the imaginary friend, and she had erased it from her memories. We get to the point where we get those answers, and you find out that the dad saw its true form. It saw the imagination of all the children that it had been with beforehand, and it was just too much for his psyche. And like that, they were kind of trickling at, and like I enjoyed that aspect. And then you get to the bigger twist, which, just in case you want to see it, I won't fully reveal that. But I also like that subconscious part where her imaginary friend, when she was younger, when they were friends, is what inspired her book series with the millipede and stuff like that. And just to find out that the reason they no longer are friends is because it wanted her to come stay with her, because her imagination was so vast. It wanted to keep feeding off of her imagination, and less of a friendship and more parasitical in that sense. Overall, I think the movie is a fun, enjoyable movie. It's kind of been out of theaters, or it should be out of theaters by now, but if you see it pop up on a streaming service, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good movie. Did enjoy the thrill of it, the story, the intensity. I like the little family dynamic we got, and I enjoyed it overall. So it's a weird, bit of a mixed review, because I think technically it failed as being a horror movie, but I enjoyed the story, the concept, the little playfulness we got here and there between the characters. And I enjoyed that so much that it was a success for me. I'd recommend it to people. I've seen it a couple times, so I do think it's rewatchable. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it if you've seen it, if you haven't. It's also funny that later on in the year we have Ifs coming out, which is a more family-friendly version of what happens to imaginary friends when they lose their real person, their buddy system. So I think it's just kind of neat that we got both of those. I don't know if it was planned. It might have been, but just having that yin and yang of a similar concept, completely different stories. But I want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. I love chatting with y'all. But until next time, stay safe, be well, y con mucho amor. Adios.